This conference will now be recorded.
I'm sharing my screen. You should be able to see my screen. A quick recap. Currently, we are working on Terraform. Terraform is a technology which is called as IAC in short. The full form is infrastructure as code. That means we are going to create infrastructure with the help of code. So basically in Azure, you can create services. Services are nothing but infrastructure. Okay. So there are multiple ways of creating Azure services. One of the easiest way is to use Azure portal. We have created this virtual machine already using Azure portal, but unfortunately working in the portal manually is not the best approach in real time, because you'll have to create the same things in multiple environments, right? So that's why it's not recommended to create anything manually. It is recommended to create any service using code. There are multiple technologies which support code. One of the most popular one and widely used is Terraform. We'll also learn two more technologies called ARM templates on Bicep that will follow next. Okay. And yeah, Terraform is a software that you should install, and we already discussed about how to install it. It's very straightforward. And let me quickly show you the workflow. First, we will install and configure the Terraform. So those who have joined today, I can share you those recordings. You need to go through those recordings, the previous session recordings. So first step is installation and configuration, and then we'll start development of our Terraform code. Okay, we have started working with Terraform code yesterday. I will also show you again. And then we need to start running these commands. These are Terraform commands. Init is a Terraform command which will initialize a working directory. Plan provides execution plan. It will tell you what services you are adding, what services you are changing or updating, and what are you destroying. All those information the plan will supply. And apply will actually create the services in Azure. Plan will only tell you what all changes it is doing, but apply will actually perform the operations of creating, modifying, or deleting the resources inside Azure. Okay, so the main advantage of Terraform is you author once, you test using all these commands, okay, and finally you can deploy them into development environment, testing environment, and production environment. So author once, run multiple times. It could be 3 times, it could be 10 times. It will save lots and lots of time of yours. Okay, that's the main advantage of Terraform. So we discussed all yesterday, and let me jump into another slide. So we created one resource yesterday using this code. Okay, so these are called as block Terraform block syntax. So we have created one simple resource, but we are going to create 10 more resources. So please pay attention, because I'm going to copy paste the rest of the 9 resources. I've already done this yesterday. Let me explain it again. So this is a resource, which is a keyword in Terraform. And then this is the type of the resource. Basically in Azure, we need to create a resource group first, right? So Azure RM underscore resource underscore group is the fixed name for resource group by Terraform. And then this is an identifier that we are giving to this entire block. So this name can be anything. Here I just gave RG. You can rename and provide whatever name you want. Okay. And then we need to provide other details. Basically, the first line tells Terraform that we want to create a resource group in Azure, and RG is the identifier for identifying it. And then these are the details of the resource group. So name equal to something, right? This is some value that we can provide. And then location, I want to create the resource group in this location. This is another key value pair. And then tags equal to something. These are the, this is called as nested, this is called as object. Object again contains key value pairs. So it is called as block type, label, custom label, a key value pair, another key value pair. So the key value pairs change based on the type of the resource you are creating. Name and location are the only properties that we need to provide for resource group. But for other resources, we need to add more key value pairs. That's the only thing that we should do in Terraform. Rest of everything will be same. And here it is nested object. Okay, that's what we did. So let me quickly show you the code. Yeah. So this is the block syntax for creating the resource. This is the exact thing that we just saw in PowerPoint. And now what are these other things, right? So here, if you remember, Terraform can be used in Azure. It can be also used in AWS. It can be also used in GCP. So AWS and GCP are other clouds which are competitors to Microsoft Azure. So Terraform needs to understand for which cloud provider you are working. So we need to specify required providers. And we need to specify this source and version. So what happens with this is it downloads. When you run this file, Terraform will download the appropriate Azure related softwares with so and so version. Okay. And along with that, we also need to provide this feature section. So here it will be empty most of the times. It is required to be provided. Generally, we provide this every time with empty. We don't add anything. But if you want to customize any features inside this, any resources, any resource features, then we can leverage this to make some changes. But generally, this will always be empty most of the times. Okay. Yeah, this is the simplest Terraform file. We already executed this. So how do we execute this? Go to terminal. It will open PowerShell terminal, and I ran a command called Terraform apply. So this will ensure that it executes this. So every command will start with Terraform. So apply is the command which will create all the resources specified in this. Okay, so that's what we did yesterday. That's a quick recap. So now let's move on. We are going to create more resources. Okay, and there is a quick question. Yeah, procedure is same. Yeah, the procedure is same for everywhere. GCP, AWS, anywhere the commands will be same. Terraform apply, Terraform init, and the code that we write is also very similar. Only thing is these things will change. Yeah. All right, let's move on. I would like to show you the next steps. So I will be jumping between PowerPoint and this code, guys. Please bear with me because I need to explain more things. I think we can do this later. But yeah, understanding the components of virtual machine is very, very important because we are using Terraform to create virtual machine. along with its components. We already discussed this, but it's a good it's good to again repeat the same thing so that everybody understands. This is the simplest architecture of a virtual machine and its components. Okay, in Azure, everything is a service. A virtual machine is a service. Now, virtual machine cannot be alone. It needs a hard disk, right? It needs a network interface card to connect to a network or internet. So NIC is also a service. It needs an IP address. That's another service, right? So everything is in service in Azure. So the very first thing that we need to create is a virtual network. It's also called as VNet. So we need to create a virtual network first. Okay, let's create virtual network first. So please bear with me, guys. I will be jumping between two missions. So virtual machine, we need to create, sorry, VNet, we need to create a virtual network. So simple, very simple. So all it is resource, press tab, I press tab. That's it. Automatically, you see, it has taken me here and it is giving me all the names of the resources that you can create. It's it, yeah. Azure RM underscore. What do we want to create? We want to create virtual network, right? Virtual underscore network. Yeah, this is the one that we need to create. And we need to provide a name. I will provide simple name called VNet. So this is the name that we can give anything here. That's why auto intelligence did not come. But here, these are all predefined names defined by Terraform. So as soon as I'm typing, auto intelligence is coming up. How is this happening? Because yesterday I have installed an extension of Visual Studio called Visual Studio Code. The name of the extension is HashiCorp Terraform. See, I have installed it yesterday, if you remember, right? That's why this auto intelligence is working. Otherwise, it won't work. So when you are practicing, if auto intelligence is not working, please install it and restart Visual Studio Code. Sometimes it won't work, so restart multiple times, then it will work. All right. So now, as I said, the key value pairs will change for every service. Some of them will be common, right? We need to learn those things. That's the only challenge with Terraform. Okay. So now, while creating VNet, what are the properties that we need to mention? So how do you know that? How do you learn about that, right? So simple thing is go to Azure. What do we want to do now? We want to create a virtual network, right? So search for virtual network. Click on create. Now you see what all things we need to provide. We need to provide a resource group first, then name, then location. Okay, these three and IP address space. You see, it's automatically taking some. Okay, so these are the main things that we need to provide for virtual network. And subnet is another thing that we need to create again. Okay, so let's provide resource group first. Resource group is the first thing, right? So I'm pressing Control Tab and type resource RE. So it is giving auto intelligence. So we don't need to remember the entire syntax. That's it. Select it. And what is the resource group name that we have given? Copy paste it. This is not the best way. I will show you what is the best way here, but just bear with me for some time. But this is also good. So now what is the next thing, guys? After resource group, name, location, or region. These two things we need to provide, right? So go back. I'm pressing N. Automatically, it has shown me name. I'm pressing Tab. So what name you want to provide? We can provide any name. So I will do vnet underscore devops, something. The same way, location. Already we have this. I can directly copy paste instead of spending time. That's it. And what is the next thing? Resource group name, name and location are given. Resource group name and location. It doesn't have anything in this tab. In the next tab, IP address space. How many IP addresses you want to create in this VNet? That is something that we need to provide. Okay. So now type I and press Control tab. Okay. IP address is not coming up. So basically, you should remember these kind of things. It's called as address space. This is IP address space. It's an array. So array starts with square braces like this, and it is asking us for a value. So address space syntax will be like this: 0 dot 0 dot, or you can copy from here. It's already giving us here, right? So we can copy like this. And now you need to learn about address space. So this is not specific to Azure. It's you can do it with Google and you can learn about IP address classes, blah blah blah. There is a lot of information. So it is not specific to Azure, so I'm not going to explain about that. But otherwise, all it needs an IP address, valid IP address. Yes, that's it. We're done. So now this is another resource that we have created using Terraform. Let's quickly test it. There is a problem here. It won't. I don't think it will run. I'm expecting an error, but let's see. So a VNet cannot exist without a subnet. We did not create any subnet yet, right? So definitely this should fail, but let's see. So we'll have to wait because Terraform is now validating and it is planning. So though it says one to add, okay, it did not throw me any error because it is just a preview. It's showing me Terraform apply is showing me that a new resource called VNet is getting created. Okay, let me make some room here. Yeah, it is giving us all the details. This resource group called VNet, some of them it is showing, some of them will be known after creation, right? So are you sure you want to create? Yes, I want to create this. Let's see. Oh, nice. It was able to create resource VNet. Very good. In general, right, from the portal, it doesn't allow without a subnet. So I thought I will receive an error, but it turned out that I was wrong. So a VNet is also created. Yeah, it took some time to display here. So VNet is there, and subnet. There are no subnets. Okay, so subnets are mandatory. Without that, we cannot connect a VNet. So next thing is we need to create a subnet. So let me show you that in the diagram. So one VNet can contain multiple subnets. So within subnet, virtual machines will reside. It's mandatory to choose a subnet for a virtual machine. Without that, you cannot do. Okay. The next step is subnet. We're going to create subnet now. It's very simple, straightforward. Source. I'll directly type subnet. Oops, not coming up. So if you don't see IntelliSense, press control space, Azure RM underscore subnet. That's it. Press tab and then provide some name like this. So this also needs resource group name. I'm copy pasting the resource group name and name. So we should change, obviously we should change this name, subnet underscore or probably in real time, right? What people do is for every workload type they create a subnet. For example, for all web servers, a separate subnet will be created, something like this. Web underscore, sorry, web hyphen subnet, database hyphen subnet, something like that. Okay, and then we need to provide in which virtual network they should be located, right? So for that we need to choose virtual network name equal to the name of our VNet, and then subnet also need to have a name, an address space, address prefixes, same syntax. So it should be inside the virtual network, the names. So I'm also bad in this kind of things, so let me quickly try creating a subnet here. Yeah, 10.2.0.0/24. So these details, right? These details you should learn, and this range should be inside the VNet range. Otherwise, you will see an error. So now one important thing is this subnet must be created only after VNet is created. It's very important, right? The reason is when you submit Terraform, when you apply, when you run a command called apply, what happens is Terraform might run resources in parallel. I don't know how many requests will be running in parallel. I think it's 5, but I'm not pretty sure. But when it executes things parallelly, there is a chance that the child, this is a child, the subnet is a child of VNet, right? So there is a chance that this might be submitted first before this. In that case, it will throw an error because you cannot create subnet before its parent is created. Its parent is virtual network. So what we can tell Azure is, hey, I am a resource, I am a child of other resource. I am dependent on some other resource. Some other resource which is net. You see, it is automatically giving us all the identifiers. So what is the identifier? VNet is the identifier. Now we want to refer this VNet somewhere in some place within this file. So the type of the resource dot the name and the identifier of the block, resource block. This is how references will happen. Okay, so now this is a resource, child resource, which is dependent on this resource. So we need to say depends on. That means Terraform will understand that, okay, there are dependencies. So we should not submit this before submitting all its dependents, all the resources on which this is dependent on. So first it will refer all this. Okay, there is something like called as VNet. First it will submit it. After Azure says that yes, it is done, then only this will be submitted. So this is very important. Sometimes depends on need not be specified explicitly because we are referring this here. So Terraform might automatically understand that there is a dependency, but for developers, for DevOps engineers, it makes sense to add depends on so that people can understand easily. It's more readable. Okay, so like this, we need to keep on adding resources. So instead of, in the interest of time, let me copy paste the rest of them. I'm not sure if I will be able to copy paste. Let me try. So there are more resources, guys. I'm copy pasting. Please bear with me. To save time, I am copy pasting, but you guys need to yeah, I was able to copy paste. I'll quickly explain what all I did. Yeah, subnet I explained. Next thing is IP address. So it's very simple. Name of the IP address, location, resource group name. We all understand this, right? Then allocation method. Do you want a static IP or dynamic IP? So that is additional feature of an IP address. So you should learn all this. You will learn. How do you learn? You will learn by practicing. So if you go here and search for IP address, click on create. You'll have to learn all this. Not everything is mandatory. You see, this is mandatory and this is mandatory. So from Terraform, even if you do not submit something, it will automatically take the default ones. Okay, all right. So how do you know all this? So it's simple, very simple. Terraform IP address. So you always need to refer the official reference. Sorry guys, this thing is not good. Please better. Azure Terraform IP address. When you go here, you can use this. This is how I've also done. So it tells you the all the required, all the minimum thing that is required. So I'm using dynamic, but in this example, it is static. So you copy paste and you can start working. So Terraform documentation has everything. And then next thing is network security group. So we learned yesterday about this, right? So network security group is nothing but it's a group of rules. So these rules are for security to control the traffic. Okay. So we need to provide a name, location, and resource group like how we did for other resources. And now the additional things are rules. So here we are creating only one rule called RDP rule. So this RDP rule will allow inbound traffic on 1001 port. Sorry, not port. So this rule allows an inbound traffic which comes with this TCP protocol on any port, but the destination is 3389 from anywhere, source and destination from anywhere to anywhere, and the priority is 1001. So priority is equivalent to the rank that we see in academics. So lower is the rank, higher is the priority. Okay, so NSG rules are very important. We already discussed about this. There are two types of rules: inbound rules, outbound rules. Inbound rules are meant for controlling the traffic coming inside the network, inside the virtual machine. Outbound traffic is something that is going outside. It's very similar to our cell phone calls, incoming calls, outgoing calls. Okay, so here we are treating only NSG. We are not attaching these rules to anyone. Okay, so let's go back to our PowerPoint. So we discussed about subnet, we discussed about public IP address, we just discussed about NSG. Next thing is NIC card. It is also called as network interface card. So if you see this diagram, network interface card must be created separately and it must be attached to a virtual machine and a public IP address, and we can also attach NIC card to NSG. That's also possible. In this diagram, the NSG is attached to a subnet. So 2 points to remember here. A NSG can be attached to a NIC card or a subnet only. You cannot attach a NSG to virtual network. That's not possible. NSG can be attached either to subnet or to the NIC card. So we need to do all those associations as well. Okay, so let's move on to our code. The next thing is network interface. You see, it's a name, location, resource group name. We all know that. And you see here, we are doing some kind of association. First thing is subnet. To which subnet we need to associate it? We are associating it with a subnet whose name is subnet. I gave this subnet. If I go back, the name that is given is subnet. So once the subnet is created, an ID will be generated, right? So that ID will be automatically picked. I'm coming down, and that ID will be associated with this subnet ID of network interface card. This might look a little complicated for now. Okay, so you should practice, you should understand, you should learn more about this, then only will feel comfortable. Definitely, I know it is a little complicated, understanding relationships, understanding all these IDs, but that's how it is. This is the challenge, guys. This is the only challenge that you face with Terraform. But don't worry, all you need to do is again the same technique. Go here. Oops. Search for subnet. Sorry, search for network interface card. Azure network interface. You see, where they created virtual network subnet and finally network interface card. So you have to pick all this from here. It's as simple as it is. So when you are working in your projects, if your job is to create virtual machine and its components, you have to copy all that from here. Even if you have to do complex things, you'll have to come here and copy all this and make some modification with respect to these names. Don't use example. Change based on the naming convention. So change all this. That's the only challenge, only work that you should do. Okay, otherwise everything can be copied from official Terraform documentation. Okay, and I can see some what is the significance of network interface card. It's very simple. Let's say your laptop, right? You are using your laptop. Let's say Wi-Fi is not working for some reason, but LAN ports, right? You have your router. So router has, and you have a LAN cable. So you can connect LAN cable to your laptop, right? So the port in which you plug in the LAN cable is network interface card. It's a simple card that will make our computer connect to a network. Okay. So in virtual machines, also in Azure, they will have a card that will be plugged into a virtual network, because it's all virtual in cloud. So we don't have to physically have someone sitting in the data center who will plug all that. That's not required. So that's the power of cloud. Okay. So all right. So like how we associated a subnet to this, in the same way, IP address must also be linked to this network interface card. Okay. All right. And then we need to associate NSG to network interface. You see here, this is simple. There is a separate resource called network interface security group association. All we need is to provide network interface cards ID and NSG ID. And finally, we need to create a storage account for diagnostic. This is optional, but yeah, we are creating it here. So it's very simple. Name, resource group, location. These are the common things that we have already seen. And we'll learn about these two later when we learn storage account. Don't worry about this. But a new thing that you have seen is this syntax, dollar, blah, 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 right? So basically the storage account name must be unique across all customers of Microsoft. So now we don't know whether we can directly give something like this. Some random number to ensure that uniqueness. But who knows? There could be another storage account with the same name. In that case, it will fail, right? So what we can do is we can generate a random number dynamically that is not existing already in Azure, and then assign that to our storage account. So how to do that? There is a resource called random ID in Terraform. Based on the resource group name, it will automatically generate some random number along with, basically it's a new combination of characters and numbers. So that will be created dynamically, and we are using that random number, converting into some hexadecimal something and assigning that to name. This is how you dynamically assign some values. This is storage account. Here we are just creating storage account. And finally, virtual machine is created. So name, resource group, location, we all know that. And size. So we already discussed about size, right? Standard. There are F, D series, B series, blah, blah, blah. There are many series out there. F2 is the series that in this code we have selected, and standard, and username, password. And now you see network interface card, right? Virtual machine must be connected to network interface card. That's what we have seen in the diagram. So we are attaching our VM to the network interface card and specifying other details of OS and OS image, all that stuff. So that's it. And now you can run Terraform apply command again. Let me clear the screen. Yeah, there is an error. Inconsistent dependency log file. The following dependency selections recorded in the log file are inconsistent. Okay, there is some problem with log file. So we need to run Terraform. There is some problem with versions and all. Are we in the right location? Okay. Terraform apply. Basically, the problem is random also needs some kind of software download. So for that, we need to run init again. Yeah, now it says 8 to add. 8 resources will be added now. If I say yes, in general, you should review all those. Yeah, but because we know what we are doing, so I will say yes. Now we will start creating all the resources, all the 8 resources. So let me quickly go here to Azure portal. Go to resource groups. These are resource group. Let me make some room by collapsing this. So refresh. Subnet will not be shown here. Subnet will be inside VNet. So it will not be shown as a listing inside this resource group. Yeah. So IP, yeah, everything got created now. Yeah, disk, virtual machine, everything got created. Just Windows, blah, blah. So it's creating, it's still creating. In a moment, it will be in running state. So that's it, guys. That's it on Terraform. Any quick questions? I know some of you were not able to understand yesterday. Looking at the comments, I can understand. Does it make sense, guys? I'm open for questions now. Let me see. Yeah, please go ahead.
We created a VNet and subnet by referring some IP address on the portal. So when I used to create multiple VNet and multiple subnet, so how I can use that IP address?
Yeah, so that's what I mentioned, right? You should understand, learn about IP address classes.
Okay.
So when you're working in large organizations, okay, you need to plan IP address ranges. So how many servers do you want in on-prem and in Azure? Based on that, you need to learn about the structure of IP addresses. How many subnets do you want to create within virtual network? All that association, you should do some homework. You should talk to your network engineers basically.
Okay.
So you will get these details from your network architects.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sure. And somebody's asking, what is the difference between VNet and subnet? It's simple. VNet is a virtual network. One VNet contains multiple subnets. So VNet is a parent, subnet is a child. It's as simple as it is. And Shiva Prasad is asking, network interface card helps to network interface to VM. Absolutely, yes. So VM is generally isolated one. Now you want to bring that to a network, then you should have a card, which is network interface card. And Arthur says, when you say that is it for Terraform, do you mean we have covered everything we need to for Terraform? Does Terraform use variables, etc.? Yeah, thanks for reminding. I forgot that. Yeah. So now, very good point that Arthur has asked. I totally forgot. Sorry for that. Yeah. So now this is all good. It has done. I mean, it completed execution of everything. Right now, we did not follow all best practices. Right. So what do I mean by that? There are many bad things here. You see, I am hard coding everything here. That means this is not reusable. This Terraform file is not reusable at all. Right? So I cannot use this Terraform file to create one more set of these components at all. Right? Why? Because I have hard coded everything. The name of the resource group is hard coded. The name of the virtual network is hard coded, blah, blah, blah. So it's not recommended to hard code all these names like this. So that's where, then what should we do? So right now I am the author of this file. I am running the Terraform files, Terraform scripts here. But in real time, it might not be the case. As a DevOps engineer, you might be responsible for development of this, and you will of course test it in dev environment. But what about the next environment? So probably you don't have approvals for next environment because everything involves cost, right? Now we created this VM. From now onwards, Azure will start charging me, right? So think about the production scenario. I mean, real-time scenario. You will definitely have development, staging, and production environments, right? So in develop environment, yes, you will create like this, and then immediately on the next day, you will not run the same Terraform file in UAT or production. No, there will be a lot of processes involved. Once you are done, you need to submit the status to your leads or managers or clients. Then the clients architecture team, right? Some people say SecArch teams, blah blah blah, right? Those teams will review all the associations, naming conventions, tags, everything, especially this address spaces. All those will be reviewed by them, and it will take a lot of time, right? So now, as a DevOps engineer, it's your responsibility to ensure that the code you are writing is very generic. You should not hard code, at least the most important ones. That way, you will be done with your development work and you will be moved to some other project. A DevOps engineer can work on some other project till you get approvals for this project. It will take time, right? So when you get approvals for this project, you might not be there, you might be working in some other project. So new person comes here. The new person should be able to easily execute your Terraform file, right? So that's the flexibility that you should provide to your Terraform scripts or any other IAC. Okay, that's where parameters comes into picture. So now we have hard coded everything, which is bad, very bad. The solution is to start working with variables and all. Okay, so let's learn that. Yeah, thanks Arthur for bringing that up. I totally forgot that. I'm so sorry. So now what we will be doing is we will be creating some additional files called variables.terraform, and let me quickly create. Thanks Arthur for bringing that up. Yeah, variables.tf, where e means empty. So I would like to create an empty variable so that it gives me all syntax. Okay, so now let me make some room here, guys. Yeah, what should we do now? Let me make it side by side so that we see the code easily. Visual Studio Code gives you all these guys. Yeah, so I want to see our TF file and this side by side so that I can copy paste easily. So what should we remove here? I want to create a variable for storing resource group name. Okay, and then I want to create a variable for location as well. Okay, so this is location, and like this we need to create variables for everything. I'm not creating for VNet and all, but yeah, we need to create for everything. Okay, for now I'm just creating two variables, but the syntax process is same for every other thing that you want to make it dynamic. Okay, so now we just create variables, so now we need to use them here. How do you use them? Just say var, and automatically it will fetch all the variables that you have in variables.tf, and then location, var dot location. That's it. So now we removed it. We are not specifying any value here, right? So what we can do is we can specify value as well. Press Control Tab, default equal to value. We can specify that, but it is not the right way. There are multiple ways of specifying values. One of them is default value, but don't do this. So we are done with creation of variables only, but not values. We know how to create a variable and how to refer that in our Terraform configuration file. It's very simple, var dot variable. Sometimes this IntelliSense won't work. Just restart your Visual Studio Code and it should work. Okay, all right. So now what about the values that were there earlier? So now for this, we again need to create one more file called terraform.tf. Okay, it's very simple now. All you need is copy or you can put it like this and then provide the name of the resource group name that you would like to create. press control space, it will show you all the parameters here and select location equal to H2S. So I don't remember the exact value that we should provide. So this is the name that we gave already, right? So this is how you configure variables and all. Okay. So now everywhere we can change the resource group name. Everywhere we are hard coding it, right? Location and resource group name are hard coded. So var dot resource group name, var dot location, var dot resource group name. Subnet, for subnet location is not required because subnet will be created in this network and this network is already located in some location. So this subnet will obviously be saved inside whatever location you specify for its parent. In the same way, we need to change everywhere. Right now, I'm not creating variables for every other thing, but you should think about that in real time, understand which all things would change across environments. Those all are right candidates for variables. Okay. So now again, we followed some best practices. There are more best practices. Okay. Let me explain that. I'll just explain it, but an assignment for you is to modularize it. I'm going to give you the entire code, but there is one more problem here that you guys should follow in real time. So now what are we doing here? Everything is done in main file. How many lines of code we have? Around 100 lines of code. Yeah, more than that, I think. Yeah, 130, 140 lines of code. We are creating only one virtual machine and we ended up having 140 lines of code. What happens if there are hundreds of services? We'll end up creating thousands of lines. So maintaining thousands of lines of code in one file is definitely not a good practice, right? Moreover, multiple people will be working on multiple items. So definitely one file will we maintain everything in one file. You are, it will be a nightmare for everyone. So it makes sense to modularize these pieces. So that's the best practice that you should follow in real time. Okay. So that's an assignment for you, but don't worry. I've already done that. So I am going to share you the code as well. I want you guys to practice that. And in case if you face any problem, then you should refer the code. Okay. So that's one best practice that you should follow, modularizing. I don't want to cover this because people might feel that it is complicated. So definitely please practice. I will give you the code, you practice it. We'll discuss if you face any challenges. Does it sound good, Arthur and everybody?
Yes.
Yes, yes, Praveen.
Yeah. Okay. And then there's one more point with respect to state. So definitely that is very important. We will cover that. Can you please go on? You are getting? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so state, we did not discuss anything about state. Only one thing that we discussed is it creates a file called Terraform state. It looks very similar to ARM template. We are going to learn about ARM templates later. So this is a Terraform state file. It will be generated automatically. So we should never change it. Basically maintain the state of the infrastructure that we already have in Azure. So don't make any changes here. So this is good for one developer, one DevOps engineer, but later when multiple team members work, everybody will have their own state in their own machine, which will create problems when work in larger teams. Okay. The solution is to externalize this Terraform state. That's the best practice. Okay. So don't worry about this now because I would like to explain that when we are doing Azure DevOps pipelines. So later we will integrate this Terraform file with, right now we are running it manually, right? I'm running the command manually. Though all the code is automated, but still running process is manual, right? So in order to automate this, we'll have to use pipelines. So when we do pipelines, we'll also discuss about externalizing the state into storage account, blob storage account. We did not discuss blob storage yet, right? That's why I don't want to discuss that now, but externalizing the state is something we will discuss later. Okay, so modularizing, you guys need to work on that. It's an assignment for you guys. Okay, so I will share the code, this code as well as the modularized code to each of you. So that will be your assignment. So please practice all the assignments. I will start giving assignments from now on. Yeah, please go ahead, Timarati.
Yeah, hello, sir. Sir, how to do rules like auto scaling, scale up, scale down?
Yeah, we will discuss that next. I mean, later in the next sessions. Auto scale rules, scale up, scale down, what is scale out, what is scale in. Yeah, we will have separate sessions. We'll learn those things in PASS.
Okay, okay. Sir, can you go more about random ID?
Yeah, sure. So basically, random ID is nothing but, okay, first let me explain storage account. So don't worry about the storage accounts, but I'll just show you the problem. Why we wanted to use random ID. So there is a service called storage account used for storing data. Okay. So now you see, it says storage is already taken. One is also taken. 2 is also taken. 12 is also taken. 1 to 3 is also taken, right? So now I don't know what all is taken, because storage account name must be unique across the globe. So what I want is, I want to do something like this, which is not existing anywhere. Yeah. So this is not taken already. Okay. So I want definitely these characters in my storage account name, and then a dynamically generated, randomly generated number must be assigned after storage text. Okay. So I don't want to provide this manually, right? We don't know. So that's where the random ID generator comes into picture. Let me directly jump there. So random ID is a type of resource in Terraform which generates random numbers. Is it clear?
Okay, so what do you mean by byte length?
Byte length, see, it's the length of the internal bytes. How many characters you want to generate? I think it's 8. I guess byte length means, I think, the number of characters. So all that you can look at this. Okay, so let's go there. Terraform random ID. This Bing doesn't give us the right things, guys, unfortunately. So it generates random numbers that are unique. How many random bytes that you want to generate? The minimum is 1, and here 8, we give 8, right? It generates 8. Okay, that's how, because you are asking this, because you are seeing that here. There are many things that might not be shown. So this is how you should learn additional things whenever you come across those things. That's how you get expertise. So when you're copy pasting anything, right, from anywhere, always try to understand what it is. Sometimes we'll be in hurry to implement or complete some task, right? But you should make note of what exactly is this, like how you asked about random number and the bytes attribute inside it, right? So you should always learn those new things. That's the only challenge that's the only way to get expertise in Azure. Otherwise, it's all simple. Right? There are thousands of such points, right? So you will come to know only when you practice, when you learn these new things, because every day Microsoft Azure is adding new resources and adding new features to existing resources or changing some features. So all this happening very dynamically. That's why Microsoft Azure is called as moving target. So that's the best way to learn. Yeah, that was a simple question, but good that you're asking questions. Let me see if there are any other additional questions. Any other questions, guys? Yeah, I can see one question. Is there a possibility where Terraform will not have all the Azure service? How to manage that service in Terraform? If I understand correctly, so Microsoft is the provider in Azure, okay, and probably let's say today at this time, Microsoft releases a new feature. Okay, so now will Terraform support that feature or that service? Probably no. Okay, today no, but Terraform also has some plans to that, right? So I don't know how much time will they take to add new feature. I think they will also, work with Azure closely and ensure that these kind of very new feature or recent files, recent changes will be incorporated almost the same day. I read it somewhere, but I don't remember the exact time. But definitely, uh, they will not be available immediately. There will be slightly delay of a day or two, but I don't remember the exact number. So did I answer your question, Rakesh?
Yeah, is there any possibility of using some other like ARM template or biceps for those particular services, like embed?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you want to embed them into Terraform.
Yeah, yeah, because if those
Yeah.
services are not releasing for a couple of months, and if business wants it.
No, no, no. It will be released immediately. Terraform will ensure that it is released immediately. It will not be months or weeks. It will be
Okay.
almost same day or next day. But still, but yeah, let me rephrase your scenario. Let's say you are working in a team, Azure team, you join an Azure team. Uh, you have some business team or customer gave you some requirement and started working with ARM templates. Okay.
Hmm.
Probably spend a week or 2 weeks. You created couple of resources using ARM templates, but now client or someone noticed that you are using ARM templates. They said that no, please don't use ARM templates because we might also need to work on AWS. In that case, you will have to switch between Azure and now AWS. So from now onwards, please start using Terraform. But now you say, hey, I already spent 2 weeks of time in authoring some services in ARM templates. So from now onwards, yes, we will definitely use Terraform. But what about the 2 weeks work that I already did? Is there a possibility of incorporating or running ARM templates into Terraform? Yes, absolutely, it's possible. You can bring your existing ARM templates into Terraform, but I have never done that. But yeah, that's also possible. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Fine.
But
Thanks.
other way, I don't think it is possible. ARM templates into Terraform is possible. Bicep, I don't think it is possible. But bicep must be converted into ARM templates. You can convert bicep code into ARM
Okay.
templates and then get that ARM templates into Terraform. That's the road that is.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So next question is, where do I see homework assignment for the module? Yeah. We will share. I will share you, Raymond. Probably I will share you tomorrow. I will upload the source code to some location where everybody can access. Right. So I will zip them, upload them into a place that you guys can download. I will share you those tomorrow. The homework module assignment modules. Okay. And another question is, what is the purpose of dollar? Yeah. What is the purpose of $sign? Yeah. So dollar, you will see that in multiple places, not just here. So basically, now random ID, right? This will generate random ID. Okay. For example, I want to refer it. This is the type of the resource dot. This is the name of the random ID, and the actual value is stored in a property called hex. Okay. So now this is a variable. This entire thing is a variable. Now what I'm doing is I'm using this variable. I'm appending. I want to use this somewhere. So variables in general will be referred with this syntax: dollar, brackets open and brackets close. This is one syntax used in some place. In Terraform, you should not use in Terraform or in Bicep. You should use square brackets like flower braces like this. Dollar. So wherever you want to use any variable, you should have in a string basically, right? For example, there is little confusion, guys. Don't worry, it is not too much. For example, let's say here we want to use a variable called resource group name, right? Var dot resource group name. Oops. We all know this. It's very simple, right? Var dot. But now, if resource group name, if you want to append this to another static string, then what you should do is static strings are always enclosed in double quotes like this. So let's say you want to append something, mine or something, hyphen. In that case, what you should do is you need to dynamically get some value from a variable. So dynamic representation is like this: dollar flower braces. This is only in Terraform, guys. In other technologies, little changes will be there. In Bicep also, the same thing. Okay, dollar square brace. And what is the variable name? It is coming from var dot resource group name. The same thing that we are doing for random. Random id dot random id dot hex is the actual variable in which you can get the random id. So that must be enclosed in this syntax. Okay, is that clear? I hope it is clear. Okay. How do you create multiple VMs in Terraform? Yeah. So there are multiple ways. For example, it depends. Do you want same storage account? Do you want to assign same subnet? Blah blah blah. Right. So there are multiple ways of doing that. So we need to discuss multiple things, guys. What about NSG? What about then subnet? Okay. What about virtual network? Do you want to use the same thing, or do you want to use new things? So based on all these factors, you'll have to write different codes. If your requirement is to create separate or all separate things, then you will have to use the same set of code. Okay. So in that case, you can create modules, module 1, module 2, and so on. And then you can reuse the VNets instead of creating all of them again. You can reuse the VNets, subnets, NSGs, and storage accounts, which can be reusable. In general, IP address will not be reused, right? So create modules for each of them. And then if you want 10 different virtual machines, you can create separate components for this, whichever is unique, right? For example, VM, obviously this must repeat, right? And the network interface card will be separate for each VM. So you should create separate network interface card. And then you need to use separate IP address. So create all those separately in each module and then attach to different components. Okay, that's how you create separate VMs. But now you might say, I want to reuse everything. So I don't want to create separate modules. Is there a dynamic way? Yeah, in ARM templates, you have dynamic way of doing, we call it as copy count. Let me show you that. But ARM templates, I have done that in ARM templates, but not in Terraform, but I can double check and let you know on how to dynamically create multiple virtual machines in Terraform. I'll make a note and I will get back to you on that after. Okay.
So, Praveen, Vijay here.
Yeah,
So, I saw you have created the main.tf. It's
okay, yeah,
a very lengthy and long file, and like maintenance of such long file, it's like later on it becomes very cumbersome. So,
exactly.
for example, I want to split this like virtual machine TF file, and then I just call into this main or somewhere, which will help to reduce like the maintenance kind of point of view, like different TF file or something like that. I hope you understand what I mean. So, like scanning the complete file, it takes time, but if you have the separation of the kind of different classes, it helps to get that. So, is there a way actually to achieve that?
Yeah, we discussed, right? Absolutely, yes, it is possible. That was the best practice that we should follow, right? I just explained that some time back. So there is something called as modules. Absolutely, you can create a separate module for almost each of the resource. So that was an assignment to you, but don't worry. I said I will also be sharing you code, right? That's what we discussed. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
already done that. I expected that because I don't want to discuss all that because we will run out of time because we need to cover ARM templates, bicep, right? So that's why I want you guys to practice that. I definitely will share you the code tomorrow. That's what Raymond was also asking. How do I get that code? So I will upload that into a location where you can all download. I will share you the recording tomorrow. Sorry, I will share you the link where you can download them tomorrow.
And any kind of, I don't know whether when we are going to finish Terraforms, but when we are going to come closer to finishing the Terraform area, can you share the list of questions actually, though, like interview questions, some sort of like where actually people ask
Good. Yeah,
different kind of interviews or
thanks.
something like that, help to
Yeah,
understand
thanks
better.
for reminding. Yeah, thanks for reminding. I have very bad memory. I am supposed to share you interview questions also, right? So definitely I will share you the links. Let me quickly share you the links on virtual machines, links on Terraform, blah blah blah, right? So this list is, will keep on growing. Only look at Terraform interview questions, and okay, I think I should share only those which I've already done. Let me quickly share you them. I'm sharing that in the chat window, guys.
Yeah, hello,
So,
sir.
yep.
Yeah, hello, sir. Sir,
1 second,
if I keep
Murali.
2 years of experience, if I keep 2 years of experience, will I get trained? Will I get fresh train from the company?
Timur, these kind of questions will talk separately. Okay,
Okay.
you can get in touch with me. We can have a conference call and we'll talk all those stuff.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Can you share your number?
You can talk to your point of contact. I'm not supposed to share my number. So you can talk to them and they will set up a conference. Or I will ask them to talk to set up a conference with you. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, did you share the last class video recording to Ravan sir?
I will share that. I think I already shared them. You can talk to them. I
Uh,
immediately share all the recordings every day.
okay, sir. There's a lag between them. So, can you share directly to us?
I will talk to them. I know you
Okay.
already spoke about this. I will
Ah,
talk to them. I will ask them
okay,
to
okay.
share it. Okay.
I did not receive last class recording.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So I shared you this virtual machines and Terraform question. So please go through them, and I will keep on adding more. And in case if you have any questions, please let me know. I will add those questions as well. Right now the list is little, hardly 10-15 questions, but my goal is to improve as much as possible. Okay, if you want to also help me, just post me questions in the post me questions. I will ensure that I will add those as well to this list of entry questions. All right, guys, I think I'm done for today. So I know there is a lot that needs to be covered, but we cannot cover everything. So we need to cover a lot in the upcoming session. So there are many things that you should learn on your own with IIS. I know we not covered many things. There are many things in IIS. I think someone was asking about scale out, right? How to automatically increase number of VMs, how to create clusters, how to create load balancers, blah blah blah, right? So we will not cover all that because this is more of DevOps, right? So we need to cover more of DevOps. So let's say, for example, if somebody asks you, I don't want one virtual machine. I want to create hundreds of virtual machines automatically as and when there is load. I think that was somebody or someone was asking. So in that case, what we should do is we should go on, instead of using VMs, we should use VMSS. It's called as virtual machine scale set. So with this, what we can do is we can create a template here. It is very similar to how we created VMs. Okay, it's very similar thing. But scaling is additional thing. Here, what you can say is you can start with 2 and you can automatically increase from 1 to 10 based on CPU threshold. If CPU percentage, this is average across the cluster. Initially you have 2, or you can have any number 3 or 4. If the average CPU in all those servers is greater than 75 for next 10 minutes continuously, then add the third VM and go on up to 10. After some time, the traffic will decrease, and so the CPU percentage will also decrease. Now, in scaling rule, what you can say is if the average of all the servers is less than 25, less than 40, less than, then decrease it by 1. That's what virtual machine scale set provides us. Okay, so this is the thing that we can use for automatic scale out. Okay, so now the same concept I will show you. I don't want to show this in IIS. I will show you the same concept in PaaS, because some concepts in IIS are same in PaaS as well. So I don't want to duplicate the learnings. So some concepts we'll learn here, some concepts we'll learn in PaaS, and some concepts we'll learn in serverless as well. Okay. Yeah, but the concepts are almost same, but definitely there will be differences. Yeah, Phil, yes, you are right. That's the auto scaling. But don't worry, I just gave a brief about this. We will have a dedicated session on auto scale. We'll understand scaling, we'll understand vertical scaling, horizontal scaling, scale out, scale in. We'll also show how servers will be created in PaaS. Okay? Will you cover everything in DevOps? Covering everything, right? I will share the course content, Arthur. I'm not sure if you are looked into the course content, but I will share the course content on what all things will be covered. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS, all are done in Azure portal, right?
Not SaaS, but PaaS and IaaS. Yeah, serverless also.
Okay, I don't understand you are switching between PaaS and IaaS.
We already discussed, right? You should go through the recording again. Go through the previous recordings. We discussed about what is IaaS, what is PaaS already, right? I'm not sure if you are there. If you're not there,
Yes, I am there. You are telling that the virtual machine is already in IaaS,
Correct.
and it can also be done in auto scaling and creating the virtual machine, right?
Yeah, we can do this. That's what I'm saying, right? You can create like this, and these properties will dynamically add or remove servers. Okay. I don't want to spend more time on this because anyway, the same concept we'll discuss in PaaS. That's why I don't want to discuss that here. So that's the recommendation that I am giving. You should practice more because we cannot cover everything in these 30 hours of course. Okay? So I'm just giving additional information and guidance on how to work with this.
Okay, done.
All right, guys. I think we already crossed our time. Today we don't have quiz because we already completed quiz yesterday. I shared you the interview questions, so please go through that, and definitely I will keep on adding the number of questions. Right now, you might see only 10-15 questions, but I will keep on adding additional questions. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
You.
Good day. Bye bye.
Thank you, Praveen. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.